What's going on, guys? It's Average Player here with the not budget version of the Brand of Despia deck profile. Undefeated again because deck is amazing. 301 at locals, tied in my last round, but we're just gonna get right into it, and we're gonna start off. Obviously, 3 Albert, just typical Despia. That's what you gotta play, budget or not. Also, before we get any farther, I'd like to thank my buddy Brock, who will also be seeing this video, for allowing me to borrow some cards and the deck idea. He's one of the best. 3 Fallen Albaz.
Only one of the best?
Shut up. Karma's on camera. He's trash. Just tell him he's trash in the comments. He plays Flu.
Or say it myself.
Shout out to Brock as well for giving me the Cartesias to use. 2 Blazing Cartesia. This card is absolutely crazy. I actually only used it, I think, once or twice today. The other card that came in absolutely clutch and was the best card I've used was Guiding Clem, which is only one in here. Use Branded Opening, special summon out the Clem. Clem, add whatever piece of the Branded you're missing. You could add Branded Fusion if you're missing that, or Branded Lost if you're missing that. It really doesn't matter. So your opponent basically has to respond to this because they both mention Fallen Albaz in their text, so you can add either one. Next, we got our one of Despia cards. So we got 1 Tragedy and 1 Ad-Lib. Ad-Lib never really came up today, but it's still good. And Tragedy came up quite a few times for me today, especially if you're de-shifting your opponent. Tragedy's good because you can get the next piece that you need to continue your combo. And Ad-Lib is good if you end up using it for a fuse and you can just revive back another fusion monster. Next, the Bestial Engine, Lubellion and Serenir. Thank you, Karma, and then thank you, Brock, for the Lubellion. This card is absolutely crazy. I used it today in combination with the Serenir. Quite a lot, actually. It kept on reviving it, and it kept me alive a few situations, enough to let me play.
Yeah, don't say I don't do shit for you.
Yeah. So one of the instances that came up earlier was I opened these in the Spriggan's kit, which is actually next in this list, in 2 Imperm. In the Spriggan's kit. I had to use the Spriggan's kit to search and place the Serenir at the bottom because Lubellion is in my hand, so I could pitch it, add this, get the Lubellion out, and then get my Branded Spell or Trap. And I'd also have I'd have Branded Fusion off this, and I'd also have Branded Lost off this. And I have another Bestial in hand, but this got interrupted, so it really didn't work out well for me. But for the other ones, it's a Spriggan's kit and Tri-Brigade Mercurier. Kit's amazing. It's a searcher, and it places one at the bottom of the deck, so it basically replaces 1 card in your hand for another card, whatever card you want. And then Mercurier is good. It's a searchable negate. Branded Lost after you fuse. You basically add this to your hand, even though they can't really respond to anything because of Lost. Mercurier is a negate for later on. It works really well against Flu.
So it would seem.
And the one of Albion, card's ass. It's only used to get your trap card in the graveyard. 1 Dank Magician, quarter century, gotta love it.
Pretty fucking dank.
1 Gimmick Puppet, didn't use this at all today. I want to. It really requires the right hand though. If you open Cartesia plus Branded Fusion, you make this card 9. You can make this card to your opponent and they're screwed. Next we got hand traps. So we got 3 Ash Blossom, 3 Imperm and 1 Called By. This is about as much room as you got. I never really took any of these out. I actually didn't take these out at all. I think I took out 1 Imperm against Hero. But other than that, you don't really take them out. It's about enough room you have for hand traps. If you're playing the Chimera version, you don't really have room for hand traps. So, there's that. Alright, for the spells now, we're going to go into Branded Fusion. Thank you to Karma for one of the Branded Fusions. Mm-hmm. These ultimate rares are sexy. But 3 Branded Fusion, it's just typical branded stuff with those.
You shouldn't even been showing the one since it's not an ultimate.
Shut up. 3 Branded Opening, which should be the next one to get an ultimate, but yeah. Whatever. Typical branded stuff. I say thank you to Karma, even though the card's going to be mine after the regional. Branded Lost for 1, Branded Red 1, and then Branded Regained. Branded Regained, I asked my buddy Brock about it, the one who gave me all the cards, and he's like, oh, it's not really that good. This card's crazy. If your opponent banishes a later Dark Monster, you can put that monster to the bottom of their deck and you draw a card. Or if you banish Light or Dark Monster, you can draw a card. And if they summon, you can basically just get out your Rebellion or your Serenir back for free. Card's absolutely crazy. 3 fusion deployment, card's still crazy. You can still use this to get into your Gimmick Puppet. Because if you open the Branded Fusion, you just fusion deployment, summon Cartesia, and you can still get into it. Next, 2 copies of Uninterrupted should be banned this. Put this card back on the list. And then Branded Retribution actually came up for its negate effect today. And I won because of it. This card's amazing.
It's pretty good.
But you banish it from grave, you can add back to your hand any of your any of your cards in graveyard that are branded spell or traps. Now time for the extra deck, because typical branded extra deck. 2 Albion, 1 Lubellion. This is good. If you didn't need its send effect, you can only play 1, but you need it, and so you can use 1 to use the Bestial Lubellion, send it to the graveyard, summon it. This will trigger, resolve on end phase. Or if you're using the next card, which is Mirror Jade, you can use Mirror Jade to dump it, still get its effect. I play this at 2. It is absolutely disgusting. Even though you can only control 1, you can use Mirror Jade, banish, get rid of it, make another Mirror Jade, banish. Because it's only once while it's face up on the field. Or it's not a hard once per turn, but that copy, that certain copy card is once every other turn.
Yeah, it's a soft once.
It's a soft once per turn, but it's every other turn. It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
Tax Dragon. If you feel like it, you can cut down one of the Super Poly targets, play this at 2. And Karma would probably kill me if I did that.
No, it's fine.
It's understandable. This card's busted.
Yeah, especially knowing if you're going into time, just summon that out. Let him do a bunch of stuff.
The Gimmick Puppet Enabler, Albion Sanctifier Dragon, played at 1. I didn't go into this at all today. I didn't really have the right hands for it. But if you have the right hand, you can make this Gimmick Puppet lock your opponent on their turn. And I could have done it. I used this card earlier, but I wasn't able to get it off in time. I was playing against heroes. I could have given them a different monster so they couldn't summon back their DPE. And that would have won me the game. So, but I still won anyway, so it would have just been an easier one. Despia and Queritus. Card actually came up today, and it made my opponent literally had to get rid of this card, or else they were just going to hard lose. Because they're playing Pearlies, and I would just made all their shit 0 and just, you know. 1 Rhinebrum. The card is absolutely insane. I used it once today to tie against the last person. But it's good for tagging out into a Fallen Albaz that's in your graveyard. Especially if you just dump it off of this next card, Gangrenal. If you dump it off of Gangrenal, you could target Fallen Albaz in your graveyard, special summon it, and banish the Rhinebrum. But Gangrenal is good just for that dump ability and being able to add another branded card. Or special summon a Despia monster, which is going to add you a branded card. Right, now we got 2 instant fusion targets. Or not instant fusion, super poly targets. We got Garura and Mud Dragon of the Swamp. This actually was amazing today. Against Pearly, it was quite amazing. And against my last person, against Vanadium, it was crazy. Because you can just modulate its attribute and make sure your opponent can't get rid of the cards that you don't want them to get rid of. Because they can't target them. It's good. Most cards nowadays target. And then Garura, we all know why that's good. Should I talk about birds? Dragoon. I don't know what to say about it. It's Dragoon. Card should have been banned a while ago.
Dragoon Turbo for the win.
It really is. Drago Stapelia. This card's so good. It's another technical super poly target, but knowing that you can still hard make this whenever you want, it's just insane. And next is the MVP of the day, Guardian Chimera. This card is absolutely busted. If you use 2 cards in your hand, it's a draw 2, pop 1, because you got to use 1 on your field for Brandon and for this card to hit the field off of Brandon and red. Or you use 2 monsters on field and 1 card in your hand, which is a pop 2, draw 1. Card's busted. I used it to pop 1, draw 2, drew into more hand traps. Card's crazy. It's stupid. But now into the side deck, which, I said something about this card earlier. The side deck, 3 copies of D-Shifter. If you play right and you know your combos well enough, D-Shifter will absolutely destroy your opponent and also give you the advantage. And that's why we play it.
Not against the burbs.
Not against the burbs. That doesn't do anything. But this does something against the burbs.
If I summon enough.
You summon enough. But 2 nib, nobody expects it. Card's busted. Thank you, Joseph Rothschild, aka MBT, for that one.
Mm-hmm.
And this also does something against Burbs. But it does something against a lot of decks, to be honest with you.
Got hit by that 3 fucking times today.
If you're not playing Droll, you're doing something wrong. That's just in there. Oh, another cards for Burbs. Necro World and Zombie World. For Necro World, you send it off the Branded Fusion, and then you summon, and you can chain to whatever in the Branded Lost Chain Link to can't respond to activate the Zombie World straight from your deck. Against Burbs, yeah, they can't play.
Oh no, I can't tribute. Whatever shall I do?
Next, this card's godly. I resolved it last week when I went 2-2. Herald of the Abyss I resolved against Dragoon. It's also for Mirror Jade. It's also against. It's also good for the Pearly, the one that is unaffected because it makes your opponent send it to the graveyard. It's good against that card. So that's why I play. It's only at 1, but the card's amazing. The card that Carmen doesn't want to see right now. 2 Lightning Storm, good for the back row decks because you got to screw, Flu, and you got to screw Labyrinth 2 Evenlies because got to do the same thing. It's good for the back row hate. Card's amazing. You use it, basically break your opponent's board uninterrupted and just combo. And then another MVP of the day, Brightest Blazing Branded King. This card is so ridiculous. My opponent was forced to flip one of my monsters face down. Or flip my Mirror Jade face down, and I still got rid of his stuff because this card is just ridiculous. It's a board negate if you have a fusion monster on board. That was Fallen Albaz. So again, thank you to Brock for the cards let me play. I hope to see some of you at the regional. And like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you later.